has a brand new pass caller. That's good. Play caller. Head coach Jeff Ulbrich.
Mostly passes. Probably.
Mostly passes. He can call some runs too.
Yeah, sure.
Mix it up. Relieved Nat Hackett of his play calling duties. Todd Downing, former Titans OC and Jets passing game coordinator, taken over. Now Rodgers has been loyal to Hackett, and one of the reasons he went to the Jets. So here's Ulbrich taking that relationship into account. Take a listen.
It was obviously not necessarily a shock, but like we all are familiar with the relationship he has with Nathaniel, and they're very, very good friends that go back a long way. So he understood the decision and he was supportive of the decision, and I'm fortunate for that. So I talked to him. I talked to a lot of different offensive players and defensive players, for that matter, before making this decision.
Okay. You think this is going to work?
No, in a couple things. First of all, it's more than just taking away play calling responsibilities. They also took away game planning responsibilities. And as an offensive coordinator, your two main responsibilities are game planning and play calling, and which is why Nat Hackett's kind of a man without a country right now, and it feels it's a tough spot. I mean, Ulbrich said at the press conference, he's like, and Nat is such a great guy. He's been a head coach in this league, and for him to stick around and even though now he's going to be doing things like, he said drawing cards. I asked Greg what that meant. He said it's like it's a lower level job to like help out the scout team stuff. So it's a massive demotion.
He got fired, basically.
He got.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's to your point, like not to be a part of any part of the game planning. That means first, second down, third down, any type of the pass game. Like you go from play calling, designing the scheme and the game plan, to your point, talking about this with Aaron Rodgers every single week, making sure that you're on the same page. To you do none of that now. Like no parts of it.
So and we remember in Philly last year, when they did it on the defensive side of the ball. They brought in Patricia, and I forget the guy's name, I apologize. But, they left him there, and it was kind of, that was a little embarrassing. But the other thing is, Todd Downing, listen, maybe he'll be good, but if he is, it'll be the first time in his career that he's good at the offensive coordinating stuff. Because he did it for a year with the Raiders. That wasn't great. With Tennessee, he did it for 2 years. And his last year there, they were 28th in points and 30th in yards. After that, he was the passing game coordinator for the New York Jets last year. I saw that passing game. It wasn't great. And so no, I don't think I don't want to make it sound like everything that the Jets do I say is wrong, because I've been saying for a while I thought Nat Hackett, they needed a change there. But I don't think this is a magic wand brew that can fix this in any scenario.
Yeah, I had several reactions. Number one was because there were obviously the reports that Saleh was going to do this exact same thing. And we all thought, and a lot of people thought, oh, so Aaron Rodgers said, no, don't demote Nate Hackett, fire Robert Saleh. And now apparently that wasn't true. But it just made me wonder, why did you have to fire Saleh? You're 2-3. You win this week. You're tied for first place in the division. And your defense, which he's a defensive coach, has been good. So that was strange to me. All right. But I will say, it made me also think, I brought up yesterday, or a couple days ago, when Woody Johnson said about Ulbrich, he's a tough guy that demands the respect of the players and the coach. We think, okay, maybe it was that Saleh was too buddy-buddy, too soft on the players, and they wanted a tough, hard-nosed coach. So maybe that's it. Look, you brought up, will this work or not? It can't get worse. I mean, we know Nat Hackett is terrible as an offensive coordinator. Keep him around so he can hang around with Aaron Rodgers. We know that. I mean,
I'm not sure.
Oh, well, I've seen enough.
If I was Nat Hackett's buddy at the bar, I'd be like, look it, man. You had washed Russell Wilson, washed Aaron Rodgers, and Zach Wilson. You still got it.
Yeah, but
that'd be my job as a friend.
Russell Wilson, maybe he was better last year without Hackett. He wasn't great, but he was better.
And he had a gig in Jacksonville where he wasn't very good.
Yeah, he's just not good. But I will say this about Ulbrich. Good for him. Because to me, if you're going to coach a team, you have to coach them the way you want to. You can't be walking around on eggshells, even around your superstar Hall of Fame quarterback. So if he's going in there, he's doing it the way he wants to do it, that's how you got to do. You got 12 games. And you can't be bowing down to Aaron Rodgers, so make the decisions you want to make, and Aaron's going to have to live with it.
I have a totally different read on it, and I'm just going to toss it to you, Greg, to tell me how it works, because I'm only pulling from like the business world and how I've seen organizations work. If you get fired or like severely, if you are at a top level job and you get severely demoted, you should leave, because you're just going to gum up the works, especially when people in power like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is not going to cut Nat Hackett off 100%.
He can hang around. He can be
hanging around is going to be a
sitting there listening.
Yeah, that is going to be a disaster.
Why?
Because
you
Aaron
think
Rodgers
Hackett's
is going to be like,
jump in there?
He's going to be like, nah. What?
Exactly.
Why?
And the whole thing is done.
If he had success with Nat,
He's going to ask him, and then it's not going to work.
But
would he kick him out of the building?
Well, to Wild's point,
That's what Wild's saying.
exactly. That's exactly what Wild's saying. To Wild's point, naturally, when you have you've taken a liking to someone and you've befriended them the way that Aaron has befriended Nat Hackett, and you have that relationship, when you don't agree with something that Downing has in the call sheet or game plan, the first person you're probably going to share that with, look, do you see this? Like,
yes.
And if that's found out, that's problematic. What I will say about this is nothing's going to change because of all the things you mentioned, but also if you're unwilling to make Aaron a little bit more uncomfortable with switching things up, with formation variation, throwing some wrinkles in there, you're not going to completely change who you are offensively. But if you're not going to change some formations and go to bunch sets and obviously motions and different things that Aaron has been
which he doesn't
out
want.
on.
The actual offensive coordinator is still there.
Yeah.
His name's Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
And so nothing's really going to change here. Like that. To me, the Nat Hackett thing was when it publicly comes out, we wanted to remove him from the job, but leave him in title this summer. Once that comes out publicly, then he's got to go. It's not going to work. So I thought that was a mistake by the Jets. But the fact of the matter is that Aaron Rodgers basically operated for the prime of his career with an arm tied behind his back schematically. Because the things that the smart people call easy buttons, like motion and play action, that open things up, he didn't want to use because he wanted to watch the field.
And so really quick, to your point, he was able to get away with that in Green Bay because we had like-minded individuals. So we were all interchangeable. So myself, Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver, James Jones, and then Randall Cobb, like we could line up stationary and run the same play but switch positions in the same formation and run the same play over and over again.
And he was better.
Correct.
And it was you had that, and it was peak Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
He doesn't seem, in my opinion, to recognize he is. Can I just throw up my full screen? I know we're screwing up the rundown a bit, Dust. I apologize. This is who he is. Oh. This is his last year in Green Bay and now. So what I did was try to find a quarterback. We took out the 2023 season. So since his last MVP year, he has been identical to Derek Carr. That's what, up and down the list, guys, identical to Derek Carr. And so he doesn't view himself that way.
No, he doesn't.
And Derek Carr needs easy buttons. Those middling quarterbacks need those things. He won't allow it because it's not what he's comfortable with. So the offense will never be good.
Okay, so if the offense is not going to be good, I buy that. I have a hard time wrapping my head around new offensive coordinator. You got to push Aaron Rodgers to do stuff he's not comfortable in. Like if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I'm not comfortable running whatever, I don't want to run it. It's not going to work.
The thing is, it's not about him being comfortable running it. It's his desire to become invested in doing it. Like because he didn't want to do what Matt LaFleur was doing initially.
He won 2 MVP.
He was bucking that, but then once Matt LaFleur, he realized he's not going to change. I have to do something. I have to buy into it. If he buys into something, Aaron Rodgers still has the ability to be special at times. I don't think at all he has the ability to be as special as Tom Brady was down in Tampa Bay, Peyton Manning was his first couple years in Denver. I don't think he's that. But he's good enough to be a quarterback to where they can make a run if he complies and he conforms a bit if they push him.
This is because I know you talked about LaFleur. The Brady narrative was he went to Tampa Bay, they got off to a rough start, and he's like, I need more Tom Brady stuff in. So that was the fight, and then the offense became more Patriots-y. and then it started to work. It wasn't like hoist.
No, they were struggling early on.
But you can do that when you're Tom Brady and you try to make it work. Like, that's the thing. It would be different if Aaron Rodgers was trying to implement, or not trying to implement, but having an offensive implementation of someone else's versus it's out the gate his. This is what I wanted. Tom Brady didn't go down there and say, look, this is what we're doing. This is how I want to get it done. He actually tried to make it work, and it didn't work. And so then it's like, you're, as an offensive play caller, you're more subject to allow him more input because you see he's struggling with what you're doing.
Also, like, the guys will. We got to stop comparing Aaron Rodgers to Tom Brady.
Yeah, we do.
They could not be more dissimilar teammates and leaders, and coachable. There just couldn't be more diametrically opposed. Even though they are two of the greatest quarterbacks ever, they got there by very different paths. And so Wetzel wrote about it that Manning was holding during a lockout practices at the Rockies training facility. Brady was, bringing guys together during COVID times to get all on the same page. Aaron was chilling, man.